Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Martha Simmons with another session of Preaching and Preachers on Facebook Live, via Restream, and on YouTube. Come on in and let me know that you are out there. It's a sunny, pollen-filled Monday in Atlanta, and but my guests have joined me, so I am doing well. We're waiting for one other person, and I think I think that we have them now. Okay, let's. I think we've got everybody now. Yes, indeed, we've got everyone, and I am excited about it. Come on in and let me know that you all are out there. This is one of those practical broadcasts that people always ask for. So we are doing it again with great guests. Have the information that you all keep inboxing me about. And I saw that from the comments from this past week that people did have questions and comments. And this is your opportunity to get your questions answered. And you can give us your comments as well in the chat. Good afternoon, Wendell Craig Wood. Good to have you with us. When you come in, type in the name of another person who you know could be helped by this information. Just type in the name of another person. I'm going to ask my guests to turn your mics off until I call on you, because it looks like we're getting a bit of feedback early on. Come on in, people. Good morning to my people on the West Coast. They get up early to join me, and I appreciate it. Shouting out the people in the Midwest, the people on the East Coast, and certainly the people in the dirty South where I am. Davion Stacker, great to have you with us. One of my guests is having just a few problems with Wi-Fi. You know, the internet can actually do what it wants to do. And sometimes it does. Okay, there he is back with us. Come on in. Come on in. Give people about 30 more seconds to come in. And when you come in, type in the name of another person, or as they say, tag someone. They can jump on now. It will be on my page for 2 weeks, and on YouTube. I'm finally remembering to say we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube, and I've moved and will be moving about 100 videos over to YouTube from this broadcast. Okay, we are doing that. Um, Definitely, people have been asking, "Are you on YouTube?" I am on YouTube. I am. Henry Pitts, good to have you with me. All right, all right, all right. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to give my guests as much time as possible. As always, let us pray for those who are sick. Let us pray for those who are suffering a season of bereavement, and especially pray today for those experiencing the famine in the Sudan and war in so many areas, other areas of the continent. Please keep them in your prayers. Join me next Monday, May 5th, for a discussion on Black liberation and white nationalism with Dr. Obie Hendricks and Dr. Stephen Ray. You're really going to enjoy that. But now let's get to our topic for today. Doctor of Ministry programs, and I'm going to do quick introductions today because most of y'all know these people, and I want to give them time. Our first guest is the Reverend Dr. Willie Francois the third. He's a graduate of Morehouse. He earned the Master of Divinity from Harvard Divinity School and the Doctor of Ministry from Candler School of Theology at Emory. He is the co-director of the Doctor of Ministry program at Union Theological Seminary in New York, and he is the pastor of a megachurch. On top of that, the Fountain Baptist Church in Summit, New Jersey. He's an author of several books, including one with me, and he's published more than 50 articles. He serves on many, many boards, and he'd like for you to know he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Okay. Our next guest is the Reverend Dr. J. Elvin Sadler. Dr. Sadler attended Western Carolina University, where he received the Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration. He received the Master of Divinity degree from Hood Theological Seminary and his Doctor of Ministry from the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology in Virginia. He's an ordained elder in the AME Zion Church, and he is the founder and principal consultant of Economic, Executive International Ministry Consultants. Dr. Sadler is also the author of several books, and he serves as the Dean of Doctoral Studies at United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio, where he is overseeing what is now an international doctoral program representing 35 countries, 44 denominations, and faith movements with 40 mentors, focus groups, and 250 students. Then we have with us the Reverend Dr. Christy Woodbury-Moore, and she is a native of Jackson, Mississippi. I had to say that because I'm from Chula. She attended Tuskegee University, where she graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. She holds an MBA from the University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management, and she was the class of 2012 Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology valedictorian at Virginia Union. She also holds a Doctor of Ministry degree from Virginia Union. She is the head of the Doctor of Ministry program at Memphis Theological Seminary. She's also an assistant professor of spiritual formation and the director of supervised ministry at Memphis Theological. Last but certainly not least, the Reverend Dr. Keith Lawrence. Dr. Lawrence was ordained in the African Methodist Episcopal Church at age 18. He's a native of Trinidad, West Indies. He received his Bachelor's of Arts in Religion and Philosophy from Georgia State University, the Master of Divinity degree from the Candler School of Theology at Emory University, and his Doctor of Ministry degree from United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio. He was also a mentor at United. He currently serves as the director of the Doctor of Ministry program at Payne Theological Seminary in Wilberforce, Ohio. He is also a pastor. He was appointed pastor of the First African Methodist Episcopal Church in Atlanta in May of 2021, where he continues to follow God's call to win souls for God. Good morning or afternoon, everybody. All right. We got everybody here. Let's get right to the questions. And if you have a question for our guest, please put it in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to it. The YouTube link is Dr. Martha Simmons. that's where you will find me on YouTube. Let's go to Dr. Lawrence. How old? And then we'll go around and ask everyone else. How old is your Doctor of Ministry program? And what are the components? By that, I mean, what are the areas of study or the nature of your cohorts that are available to students? Dr. Lawrence?
Thank you so very much, Dr. Simmons and the team. We are grateful to be here with you today. Payne Theological Seminary DMin program is now approximately 10 years old, started in 2015. And we have some unique areas of study. We have the leadership study, cohort in leadership, in church growth and administration, Christian leadership, conflict resolution, preaching, womanist, pastoral care, chaplaincy, social justice and prison and prison ministries. So those are just a few, but there are some interesting cohorts that if people are interested, we have this new cohort started about just over a year on women leading ministry and marketplace with Dr. Carrie Turner from New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, Carrie Turner Bryant. So she's leading that. We also have coming up here the Sacred Activism with Dr. Freddie Haynes and Rudolph McKissick. We have Transforming Traditional Congregations with Dr. Chandler and Walton, and pastoral care with Bishop Snowton. So we have a cadre, well-balanced cadre of our cohorts that people, if they're interested in, can come to us.
All right. Dr. Woodbury-Moore, how long has your program been around? And tell us about some of its cohorts.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Simmons, for inviting me here. Memphis Theological Seminary's Doctor of Ministry program has been around for 34 years. It launched its first DMin program in 1991. And so far, we have about 9 cohorts that are active. Our first cohort, Community Witness and Social Justice. We have a Faith and Health, which helps students in terms of pastoral care. We have a general cohort as well, which is for students who do not feel as though the work that they want to do will fit nice and neatly within one of the other cohort tracks. We have Land, Food, and Faith. We have Leadership and Education in Church and Society. We have a Preaching cohort. We also have Reforming and Growing Churches, which allows students who are interested in church planting, but also growing their church as well. We have a Womanist cohort. We had the first Womanist cohort a few years ago called Womanist Preaching, but we've changed that title so that we can be sure that we are more inclusive in terms of what Womanists do. So we changed it to Womanist Witness. And then we have a new cohort that will be starting sometime in October called Religious Communication and Public Theology.
All right. Okay. Dr. Sadler, tell us about the program at United and its offerings.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Simmons. The United Theological Seminary doctoral program actually started as a consortium around 1969. And in fact, it actually began with Payne and Earlham and a couple of other seminaries, but became an independent doctoral program about 40 years ago, with Dr. Leonard Sweet, Dr. Mary Olson, and Dr. Darrell Ward. And then immediately following that, a couple of years later, Dr. Samuel DeWitt Proctor became the dean of the program. And that's really where it began to take its formation as it currently stands and build it to where we are now. We are so excited about the program. We have a tremendous model for ministry. It is a faculty mentor-led model for ministry. And we have some of the prominent names in the church community globally, actually. When you talk about William Curtis, Lance Watson, Charles Goodman, Daniel Brown, Anthony Hunt. Um, I can go and name them on and on and on. In fact, we got two new focus groups that are beginning in August. One is called the Antioch Effect, and it is being led by Bishop Timothy Clark and Dr. John Faison with Dr. Kenneth Cummings. And another one that has just been approved and we're excited about, as a matter of fact, is being announced this week at the IC3 conference in Houston, Texas, with Dr. Ralph West and Dr. Derek Hughes on the efficacy of historic African-American preaching from emancipation to present. Dr. James Harris is one of our mentors. In fact, we have 43 mentors, 27 cohorts, and we are expanding. It is a unique model for ministry, and we are looking for ways to bring about collaborative, impactful ministry around the globe. And that's just a little bit about what we're doing in Dayton.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Francois, tell us about the program at Union in New York.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Simmons, for gathering us each Monday or most Mondays of the year, and particularly on this subject that I know is helpful as people are discerning their vocational trajectory, but also the preparation necessary for that. So really necessary conversation. Our program is in its inaugural year. We are closing up our first year as a DMin community at Union Theological Seminary. It was born out of a strategic partnership between New York Theological Seminary, which is no longer operating, and Union Theological Seminary, based primarily but not exclusively on the Doctor of Ministry and Social Justice, which was one of the last cohorts to be added at NYTS. And so our cohort at Union is 3-year program, as you would imagine. While we do have an emphasis on intensives, our education model is really about direct learning, direct coursework throughout the semester. So we meet in the fall semester. We have an intensive that meets in August for 4 days, and then class meets every Thursday of that semester. And then there's an additional class that's actually a continuation of the intensive that meets one Saturday a month. And in the spring semester, we have every Thursday, of course, we'll meet for the semester, and then 2 Saturdays a month for the other course.
And this is all online?
Yes, everything is online, Zoom, actually. So the 2 hours a week in the Thursday course happens on Zoom, and then the 3 hours on that given Saturday happens on Zoom as well. We only have one cohort right now, and it is concentrated in spirituality, leadership, and justice. And we think it's broad enough. The umbrella is broad enough to really contain the history that Union has of being a liberal, Protestant, ecumenical seminary with a significant dexterity for interreligious engagement. So many of our students in the DMin program do bring a kind of interreligious character and ecumenical flavor to the work. And we are really proud of the diversity that we've been able to cultivate in a student body. And some of the courses that we offer during the 3 years of learning is leadership and revolutionary ministry in diverse cultural contexts, 2 sections of theory, theology, and the practice of research. There's a class on decoding power and intersectionality. And that class was actually born out of a class I taught at Memphis Theological. So thank you, Woodbury-Moore, for giving us opportunity to even think about a class like this. Class on moral leadership, public advocacy, and local exegesis. Those are a few of the courses that our students engage across the year.
Okay. All right. Dr. Lawrence, some students select doctor of ministry programs, of course, based on who leads the cohort. But how should one strategically approach selecting a doctor of ministry program? What should they be thinking about? What are some of the things?
Well, one must be thinking about what area of study they would like to engage in. And for like United, I came out of United, and so the model we have is similar. So we attract high profile leaders, church leaders across the community, because we believe that if sometimes students can sit with those individuals and, or walk through the process, it gives them the opportunity to attract people. Now, we also understand that in attracting high profile individuals, that the time constraint in terms of reading documents and doing this, that, and the other. So what we do is we pair such an individual with a more administrative mentor who would be able to keep students moving with their projects and all of that stuff. But so what we do, the best program contains mentors who have successfully graduated groups, so they have a full understanding of what the course involved, what the coursework is involved in that program, and they are able, have the ability to resource their students as they go through. So our thing is, let's see if we can get mentors that attracts other students, and so that's the way we kind of work it, for now, so we can get the benefits of students sitting at the feet of great preachers and mentors, to get their work done.
Okay, Dr. Woodbury-Moore, what should students be thinking about? Strategically, how should they strategically approach selecting a DMin program?
Thank you for that question. I believe that a DMin degree is a call, not just another degree. So I approach students who are discerning what their next is in terms of their call. What is God calling you to? So one of the things I think that is important as students are discerning how to select a program is their own commitment to this call. But also prayer for discernment based on your current vocation or desired vocation. But also consider the cohort tracks and courses that are offered. Do the tracks and courses fit within your passion and purpose? And then lastly, I would say, what is your personal investment, your time? Typical DMin programs are 3 years. Do you have 3 years worth of time that you can really invest in the program, but also money, tuition, and books, modalities? Our program is primarily, we have residencies, but students go off on their own and do a lot of independent work when they are not in residency. But there are other programs that are fully online. And so depending on what your needs are in terms of your family, but also your career needs, students need to consider a program that really fits within that. Versus a program that they want to maybe fit a square peg into a round hole that really doesn't work for them. And I say this because I remember when I was thinking about the DMin, and I thought about all of these things in terms of my family, my career, and all of the things that would that could be obstacles and challenges as I thought about, where I needed to go and what was fitting into the purpose that God had for me in that season of my life.
Okay. Dr. Sadler, what should students be thinking about? I remember when Dr. Samuel Proctor asked me to join, I think it was his first DMin cohort. And just as Dr. Woodbury-Moore said, what the school was offering at the time was not for me. What should students be thinking about strategically as they're considering a Doctor of Ministry program?
A great question. So I agree with my colleagues who have already responded to the question. There are a couple of other things that I think that are critical for the student to begin to discern. One of those things would be, what is your goal to impact your culture and your context? How important is it for you to begin to shape a model that will not only transform them, but transform you? And then the other thing is that, what does it really mean to be a doctor of the church? Just about getting chevrons on your shoulder? Or does it really mean that you want to participate in transformative ministry as an expert? And then as you begin to look at those things along with the other things that my colleagues have mentioned, I believe you begin to craft what your what your desire is and the path that you want to take.
Mhm. Dr. Francois, what should students be thinking about? I mean, you all are, didn't Union used to have a doctor ministry program like 10 or 15 years ago, or am I remembering wrong?
Yeah, Union has had iterations of a DMin program in the
Okay,
past.
okay.
I
I
know
was just
one
gonna
of the
say,
most recent was around chaplaincy and CPE, and I
exactly.
don't know the
That's what I'm
history
remembering.
of that. Yeah, I don't know the
Okay,
history of it.
okay, okay.
I think
So now,
one
what should students be thinking about?
I think, in addition to what my colleagues have named, I think students should consider, and this is in no particular order, students should consider, applicants should consider um, with whom they want to study. I think that how they take this journey, with whom they take this journey as faculty mentors, as faculty members, however those designations are made, is really important for your journey. You want to make sure that you're studying with people that in some ways can cull out and cultivate your interests, and that is really important around who's staffing this type of work, who's in the
Because
classroom.
it might not be a high profile person, but it might be a person who does a good job of getting you through.
True. Yeah, and I mean, you also want to think about, do faculty members, faculty mentors actually have the time to invest? And
Mm,
that has been a part of my experience in the past of just being honest before I say yes to a DMin cohort. Do I actually have the bandwidth to be fully present for students who are banking a big amount of money and a significant
that's
amount of
right.
time on my availability? So with whom do I want to study? Is that a person? Is that a profile? Are important questions. The reputational capital of the school. Does this degree from this school actually matter in the marketplace? And these are not
Mm,
questions we often think about as ministers. We are
mhm,
probably shepherded away from these types of questions. But I think now, as the
mhm.
market is shrinking in terms of
Yep.
jobs, adjunct jobs are also shrinking. We need to be honest about that too. Church jobs are disappearing, are definitely being underpaid in particular ways. You want to at least raise the question, does this school actually open up does the reputation of the school matter in the markets where I'm doing work? I think another
Mhm.
question that you need to really be clear on is, what do I want to do with this degree? There is
Yes.
I often hear DMin applicants say, "Oh, I want to teach," and that is not necessarily the pathway from this degree. It can happen. We are witnesses. Many of us on this screen are witnesses that the DMin can be a pathway into a full-time professorate, but that is not the norm. So you want to be clear about what you
It's
want to
really
do.
not the norm. It is not the norm.
It is not the norm at all. You want to be clear about what you want to do with this degree. And the last thing I would say is location matters. When you have to go to these places for residency across years, is this a city where I actually want to spend time? I think that one of our selling points is New York City. For those 4 times that you'll come to New York as a part of this program, we actually see New York as a part of the learning process. It is an instructor in the learning process. It is a student in the learning process. So centering our city as a part of the education model, the pedagogical practice, is important. So raising questions about, do I actually want to spend that week in this given city, away from my family, away from my church, are things that
Yeah.
we need to ask ourselves.
And students, and of course, this has already come up online, and I figured that it would in some ways. Um, Dr. Lawrence, how should students, we talked about how you're going to strategically approach a program, what questions to ask as you're looking to select a program. Let's get into the bones of the meat, rather, of the work itself. How should you approach that? Uh, your final project, especially if, let's say, if your full-time professional life is not really church work, let's say it's chaplaincy, it's something else, um, or you may be with a nonprofit. Talk to me about writing papers and doing the final project.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simmons, for the question. I remember, first and foremost, the sainted memory of the Reverend Dr. Wyatt T. Walker, who mentored at United. He provided a methodology for writing, and it had not failed so far. And his thing was write 2 pages every day. Thank you, Dr. Sadler, and be done. Every day, write 2 pages. And so I think that was an excellent suggestion and a formula. So his formula was very simple, just to write it and stop. So this methodology allows students then to systematically get work completed while simultaneously going about their daily ministerial life or other vocational stuff that they have to do. So at Payne, our program allows students to complete a chapter of their final project as they complete each semester. So there are 6 semesters. So at the end of each semester, you have a chapter that's finished. So when we get, so while we're doing the academic study and research, mentors and faculty work together with their students to approve them, at every step of the way. If it is not finished, they cannot advance to the next level. So it is important for that level of scrutiny and supervision so that we might be able to matriculate them, through each process. So after about 3 semesters, 85% of the intense research and writing will be completed and approved by the mentors and faculty people. Also, at the end of the 3rd semester, student prepares for candidacy review. And we take them through that process by engaging in oral, written, information. So they work with faculty advisors, the DMen team, and everybody come together. So these persons must agree that the documents, those of us in leadership, we agree that the documents meet the academic standards set forth by the DMen handbook and the academic catalog. So if students, work with this level of proficiency in progressing, then we are able to help them to maximize all of what they use to get them to the next level. That's how.
Dr. Woodbury-Moore, how do you all do that? How do you walk people through? Because I've heard, just horror stories from students.
Yes.
So I've been an editor for 20 years, and the horror stories from students about they get to the end and the paper's not ready, but they've got this deadline to graduate. Right. And that. So how do you all help students not go through that?
Well, there was a time where our students started writing later in the process. Mm-hmm. But we've since changed that, where students start to write now in residency 1. Okay. And it makes sense for them to start writing in residency 1. One of the things that is a hindrance, and it should be a part of a student's strategic writing plan, is time management. You've got to carve out time. And if that's every day, then that's fine, but you got to carve it out, and it's got to be your sacred time for writing. And you can't let other things get in the way of that sacred time. Now, I'm talking about people who preach, who have revivals, who have church anniversaries, who are on the preaching circuit that go out of town, but you still got to figure out how to carve out that time for time management. But also, you got to tell your family and friends and your church congregation that you are in a Doctor of Ministry program and that it is going to require some time of you. The other thing that I think is important as we are being strategic about our writing is that we have an honest assessment of our writing skills.
My God.
Is that so often I understand that we come in and we really think that we are writing the best thing and the best way. But one quote that I love by Octavia Butler says, you don't start out writing good stuff. You start out writing and then you keep writing to get good at it. And so I think we have to get over our egos and just be honest with ourselves about what our writing needs are, so that we can support the students. So often students have needs, but they don't say anything. We don't find out until much later that they really needed some support early on in the process. And so sometimes that means talking to the English teacher that's at the church that don't mind meeting with you to help you develop that outline, because an outline is always helpful in writing. I hope I'm talking to somebody that is watching. Amen, somebody. The other thing that I think is important, I tell my students this all the time: do not edit in your head. Get out of your head. Put it on a sheet of paper, and that's where you need to edit it. Why? Because so often when we edit up here, we've edited the whole thing out the way. We don't write it down, and then when we come back to it, we've forgotten. So we need to get it on paper, and don't be afraid to rewrite. I think sometimes we're so married to what we've written that first time that we are not open to rewriting it, to shifting the words around and shifting the vocabulary around and things like that. So that's some of the things that I try to tell the students right off. Our program is that we try to we get our cohort leaders involved early on, and we are moving up our advisors. So there was a time when we allowed our advisors to not be a part of the process until later, but that is not serving our students. So we are deciding to move the advisor engagement up in the process. So the advisor is a part of the development of the proposal. They are in the process at the beginning, helping the student craft and think through their methodology and all of that. But not only that, we have an amazing librarian at Memphis Theological Seminary who does great work in helping to connect students to writing labs and writing workshops and things of that sort, so that students can get the support that they need. So
amen. Amen for the writing labs. And I want to say this to everybody's listening, everybody who's going to play this back, okay? The level of literacy in America has been 8th grade for about 40 years, okay? That's what it is. That's what it's been. And believe it or not, people, even those who have masters, they've got their MDivs, they do not write well. They do not write well. And everybody on the screen knows that's true. But I really want people to hear that. And I don't care how well you think you write a sermon, when you enter a Doctor of Ministry program, run to a writing lab. Run to a writing lab or someone who can help you get a true assessment of your writing. I was helping a PhD student over the weekend, and they sent me the paper, and of course, the paper was properly written. They got into a good deal, properly written. But I said to them, this paper sounds like a paper I would write in my 3rd year college. And they were stunned. And what I was really trying to tell them was their vocabulary needed some shifting. Okay. And then, of course, I went through some other things, but, I'm not going to go into all of that. But I do just have to press this point. People, you don't write as well as you think you do. I'm just going to say it, okay? I've been an editor for over 20 years. I edited for Frank Thomas. I edited for Henry Mitchell. You can't edit for yourself. And you don't learn how to write on your own, okay? All of that said, Dr. Sadler, tell us about your process. Let me get off that horse, ride that horse. Tell us about your process.
First of all, I want to commend Dr. Lawrence. He was an excellent student at United, and therefore the highest form of flattery is invitation. So what he said about paid is pretty much our program. But
okay.
But and to tell you, we really partnered with Payne in their early formation. They actually came to our intensives, and we sat with them and helped them to develop their program, and it's becoming an excellent program. One of the nuances that we have, in addition to what he described, is during our intensive week. We have a great residential faculty who provides the core instruction during the intensive. And then they work with our faculty mentors who are adjunct faculty, along with our faculty consultants who are a part of the residential faculty, to keep our academic standards high. And so the students know that when they come into the program, one of the first classes they have is called Introduction to the Doctoral Discipline. And we take them through the entire manual, the first intensive, so that they will know what to expect. But then those core instructors, their faculty mentors, their faculty consultants are working with them continuously, writing, rewriting, editing. We highly encourage every student to get a professional editor, not just the person, your high school English teacher, but somebody who understands academic writing. And one of the things that Dr. Woodbury-Moore talked about was time management. We coined it a little differently. We don't call it time management. We call it personal management. Because you can't manage time. You can only manage yourself. And so we're really high on them. And she talked about delegating. Those are the things that we try to stress the students to help them to understand that these are tools that you will use not just during this process, but for the remainder of your life. And if you will properly employ them, they will help you to build capacity, not only in yourself, but with those around you. And so those are some of the nuances of our program. And we have another part. It's called IRB, Institutional Review Board, where we do human subject research. We're really strong on that. So even as the students build their abstracts with their problem statement and their hypothesis, they have to align with our IRB process. And so all of that is a part of the process to keep our academic standards high. Even though we have high profile mentors, we have placed others around them. And this is the other thing about high profile mentors, I want to say, the ones that are at United. We talk about the importance of human flourishing. And human flourishing is because out of the abundance of the gratitude of what God has done for you, you are obligated to sow into the lives of others. And so our mentors, when they come, they don't just come for a check. They come to sow into the lives of those students that are serving under them.
All right. Dr. Francois, you are one of the, and I'm just, going to throw this out because it's true. You're one of the best writers that I know. Okay, that's why you've done 50 articles or more and several books. So talk to me.
You mean to tell me that a Kappa knows how to write? I had to get that in. I'm sorry.
Great shade. This Kappa knows how to write. Talk to me about
it's a part of, that's actually a part of the pledge process. We go through writing labs.
I'll give you that one.
Okay. Talk to me about writing papers and that final project. Talk to me about that. What you all have for students and what you understand about.
So again, we're in our inaugural year. So some of this is more paper-based than it is practice. So I'll be talking through something that is aspirational in a lot of ways. But one of the insistences that we have as co-directors, Dr. Cruz and I, is for each class, and we meet every week, but each class to really be an opportunity for the student to think toward that final project. I often tell students there's no such thing as wasted words. All of these words that you are writing in semester one can be repurposed, can be edited in a way that fits into a final project. We don't explicitly say you're writing a chapter, but the courses are designed in a way that they could be perceived as chapters that can be adapted into the final project. So you seeing coursework as a pathway towards, or as a part of the scaffold for building out what that final project proposal is and what that final project is an option. Another gift is that in the first academic year, the students have both faculty co-directors in across the academic year in that first year. So the persons that will actually be approving the doctoral project and will be one of the primary readers, not the sole reader, of the final project, they get in that first semester. So we're able to identify some gaps in writing proficiency. We're able to make recommendations very directly about the type of writing lab support that is needed. So the fact that the faculty co-directors are instructors in the program, one in the first semester, the other in the second semester, our eyes are already set on, and our gaze is at work on what types of supports in writing do we expect students to need once we get to that more robust document. And then we're also really, advisement happens throughout the year with the faculty co-directors, which I think will be helpful for that writing process. And then what does it mean to build an infrastructure of support? How do we build this accountability infrastructure for the writing process? So once we get to the point of submitting a proposal, you have regular engagement with the faculty co-directors. You'll receive a faculty advisor that is not one of the co-directors, that is based at Union. Literally, this becomes a part of the contractual advisement load of the faculty member. So we know that we can hold faculty advisors accountable because, one, they're on the core faculty, but contractually, you know that this is one of the students that you have signed, one of the doctoral students that you have agreed to mentor. And we also have what's called site teams. So we bring folk from the community into the writing process. So not only are you accountable for getting this done to us and yourself, but there are people in your church, in your nonprofit, in whatever your cultural center that you're running, who are now a part of your doctoral process in a direct way. And at NYTS, we found that to be really impacting for how people get to done. And we think that will be helpful for our students at Union as well. And then I will just say, and I don't mean to be so redundant here, but the personal management, time management is wholly important. I often tell our students that it's okay to be constructively selfish with your time for these next 3 years. That you have permission, give yourself permission to block out certain times on your calendar, to tell members I cannot engage in this point, because our goal is for this doctoral experience to be an investment in that local community. And so you are telling them, I'm taking this time away so that I can better invest in this community. And that kind of constructive selfishness is around time is going to be paramount for getting to done.
All right. Okay. Of course, it's already been raised in the chat, so I'm going to just go to it. Dr. Lawrence, how long is your program? How much does it cost? And what percentage of your students have graduated on time in the last 9 years? How long?
Thank you.
How much? And how many?
Thank you so very much. Ideally, it's 3 years for the DMen program. And it's approximately about $6,000, per semester. So it come to probably a total of about $36,000. I'm sorry.
36,000 for 3 years. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. 36,000 for 3 years. Also, it's between 85 to 90% over the last 9 years of our students graduated through the program.
Dr. Woodbury-Moore?
Absolutely. 3 years.
3 years. How much does it cost?
3 years tuition and books is $7,600 per semester. And we have graduated on time, roughly 88%.
Okay. Dr. Sadler?
It is.
How long is your program? How much does it cost? And what percentage of your students have graduated on time in the last 9 years?
It is the 3-year program. Our tuition is $10,000 per semester with a $4,000 tuition waiver. So roughly about $6,000 per semester. And 92% of our students have graduated. And we have about an 89% placement rate with our students.
Okay. Wait a minute. A placement rate, what do you mean?
That means that they are actively engaged in full-time ministry, either coming in or leaving out of the seminary.
Okay, so you all have an area that helps with placement?
We evaluate it. We evaluate it with our students.
Okay. And Dr. Francois, you've already said that your program, this iteration of it is brand new.
Yes.
So, the 9-year thing doesn't apply. How much, but how long have you all set this up to be, and how much is the program?
So the curriculum is structured for a 3-year process. Most of the writing to happen in those last 3 semesters or so. And in 2027, I'll let you know what our rate of graduation is. I'm expecting 100%. Prophetically, I am claiming right now 100% in 2027. But our program is, I think it is between 25,000 to 30,000 for the academic for the cost of the matriculation for 3 years. So the program is at a top $30,000, and that's also contingent on certain other costs throughout that process. So if you need housing, if you need travel, some of those things will raise it to 30,000, but $25,000 to $30,000 is the expected cost for our program.
Okay. And, because people still think that this happens, I did hear Dr. Sadler talk about a tuition waiver, but I'm not aware of any doctor of ministry programs that are giving out grants or anything like that. Are you all? No. Okay.
No, not at all.
Well, let me say it this way. The 25 to 30K is also dependent upon the amount of aid the school gives. So at this point, we do give up to 40% to every student, up to 40% for every student.
Oh, okay.
And that's what gets it down to 25 to 30. But every student receives it. Every student that applies receives some financial aid, and that gets us to 25 to 30.
Gotcha. Okay. Someone asked, and maybe you all can answer, are there DMin programs in world missions, evangelism, those kinds of things, and justice? Anybody got any of those?
Yeah, I can just speak to one specifically about justice. We have a couple on justice. One that comes to mind is called the Beloved Community. It's led by Dr. Anthony Hunt, and it is based upon the King model for social justice. We have another one called Fresh Expressions that's led by Dr. Michael Beck. He is the national director for Fresh Expressions for the United Methodist Church, has gone to Great Britain, done much study with Cambridge on the Fresh Expressions.
So he has to you all have a justice right.
And world missions and evangelism.
You do have, United for that person who asked that question.
We call it Fresh Expressions.
Okay, they have all 3 for the person or 1 or 2 people who asked that question. Somebody asked about their DMin their PhD offerings. That's not this particular broadcast. That's not this particular broadcast. I just want that person to know I wasn't ignoring the questions. This is just for doctor ministry programs, and I can't say whether all of these institutions even have PhD programs. I just wanted that to put that out there. Let me see if I can get a couple of more questions that people keep asking now. Shorter responses. Dr. Francois, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say that our soul track right now is in leadership, spirituality, and justice. It is the coursework is designed around thinking critically, theologically about justice. So I would say that although those other categories of experience exist, it is a justice-based track.
All right. Okay. just want to try to see if I can get these in. And now I know these are all preachers. Some will ask for short answers, real short answers. Dr. Lawrence, you talked about your graduation rate. What's your procedure for ensuring that students get timely assistance from their cohort leaders once they begin their final project? I've heard from students for 20 years, I couldn't reach my advisor. It took them 2 months to get back to me. That's a constant complaint. Whether you all hear it or not, it's a constant complaint. Dr. Lawrence, how do you avoid that?
Well, we have a DMen coordinator.
Okay.
That DMen coordinator worked very closely with the mentors and the
Okay.
students to make sure there is timely matriculation and moving from one step to the next. So in this case, I learned, from United Theological Seminary, my wonderful school, that, sometimes based on some of the things you mentioned, there should be a better way. And in this case, at Payne Theological Seminary, we have a DMen coordinator who ties
everything together. Okay, Dr. Woodbury-Moore, how do you get around that? Students having difficulty reaching their main person who's walking them through the process. Getting responses to papers back late. They've sent in the document and they can't hear from that person. What do you?
I feel like you're sitting in my seat. Have you been in my office, Doctor?
Ooh, I've taken your phone calls. I tell you that.
So we have, our model is that we have a cohort mentor, and that cohort mentor is accessible to the students. And each student also has an advisor. That person is accessible to the students as well. I also have provided job descriptions of roles and responsibilities for both the cohort mentor and the advisor up front, so they know very clearly what the time investment is that is needed. And the moment a student says they cannot reach their advisor, we only give them about 3 times. And then 3 strikes you're out. It's time for me to help find a new advisor. And that's usually how we work it. Now, we also have a DMen coordinator, but I also like to stay very involved as it relates to students in advising, so that I can be the bad guy, so to speak, to help move students along the process.
Gotcha. Okay. Dr. Sadler, how do you stop that problem?
Well, I was going to be facetious, so maybe I need to be serious. But I will be facetious and say Canvas is a great tool. And all of our faculty mentor are required to utilize Canvas. All of their papers are uploaded into Canvas. Everything is time-based. And so whenever a student's documents do not meet the time-base, there's a tickler that goes out, comes to my office, comes to the DMen coordinator, who informs me of those instances. We had some of that as we began to employ Canvas. We don't have a whole lot of that now. And as I mentioned earlier, we have faculty consultants. Faculty consultants are representatives of the school, and therefore they are part of the residential faculty. So we've got several different stop gaps to help to ensure that doesn't pose a problem.
Somebody asked, Dr. Christy Woodbury-Moore is at Memphis Theological Seminary. Yes. Memphis Theological Seminary. So Dr. Francois, you all have not dealt with this yet, but you taught in programs. Just give me some feedback on that can't reach the advisor, that this person, that everything's last minute.
Sure. We have on paper some measures to guard against this happening. One is we have a DMen coordinator who's in regular conversation, will be in regular conversation with advisor and also student. Our advisors are in-house faculty members, so they're members of the core faculty. So in addition to this being a part of their institutional commitments as core faculty members, I'm in faculty meeting with them every week. So I don't know how that would get by me if I'm seeing them every single week. We have an intensive that is dedicated to the project. That is all they do for that week, is focus on the project, where they will have opportunity to have face-to-face time with their faculty advisor on campus, in Union, and obviously the co-directors, Dr. Cruz and I, to have 2 members of the faculty who are directly engaged in the program's life is also going to be helpful.
Okay. I mean, we're at our time, but I know I've got to ask this because people always ask me. And brief answers, if you can. The Doctor of Ministry is considered a practical degree. Everybody knows that. That said, what interest, if any, does your institution have in having students develop projects that are for their community and their context, but that can be published? Since the Black church needs a great deal of information in practical areas. Do you all, push that in any way? Is that an interest or not? Dr. Lawrence?
I was going to yield to Dr. Sadler since he put up his hand.
I'm fine.
Go ahead, Dr. Sadler. You put up your hand. He's right. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, my brother. One of the things that has just really been gnawing at me for the last 2 to 3 years is that very statement that you just or just shared, or the question you just asked. And so what we are in the process of doing at United is creating a model, almost like a management school model. Where in an MBA program, they have a capstone project. And many times from these capstone projects, they create case studies.
Right.
We are doing that at United now. In fact, we started that last semester, where we're taking the best projects and we are creating, from our Bishop Bruce O. Innovation Center, we are creating case studies out of their projects that will be published through United into the academy.
Praise the Lord.
To help students and schools around the globe to understand how these models can and will be successful.
Because I've never understood this notion that, yes, it's a practical degree, but nobody is writing for the church on practical things. So why not let DMN projects come forth? Dr. Francois, did you have something? And then Dr. Woodbury-Moore.
Yeah, I would just say that, again, this is ideal. But at this point, one of the things that we know we want to do in that intensive that's connected to the doctoral project is to have a methodologist there. And we've talked about what it would mean for folk at Wabash to be connected to this. And also the idea of how can we actually get these students, as they are getting through the process, in a room on a Zoom with publishers. Our school has many published faculty members, and we're always receiving visits from publishers every single semester. And so I think it would be good for us to figure out, well, how do we not just think about our faculty publishing, but how do we get our doctoral students, inclusive of our DMin students, in rooms, in Zooms with publishers, at least for them to pitch their ideas.
Let's just put that out there for everybody that's got a DMin program, okay? Get some students.
We already do it. I'm sorry.
All right now, Dr. Sadler, go ahead. Okay. Get your best students, those who want to publish for the context, for something practical. Get them in rooms with publishers. This is the very last question, so everybody about 30 seconds. Dr. Lawrence, how can students make a DMin work for them in the marketplace if they can? Maybe this is not a marketplace degree. We've said that most people won't teach who get this degree, but do you have any ideas of how they can make this degree work more in the marketplace?
Well, there are some DMin students I've known who've gone on to be president of HBCUs. Some of them are, undergrad professors. Some are academic deans. And
How
some
do
of
they do that though? Talk to me about that.
well, based on a lot of these appointments and connection with schools, it's all based sometimes on who you know. You know,
Okay.
yes. And so there is a community out there who looks constantly at students, their work, and what they have accomplished. And so it is easy after graduation and some experience to connect these individuals with particular schools. Right now, we have about 18 HBCUs without a president. Right now, as I'm speaking to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so once you have the right connection, we're able to connect individuals with those institutions and make it work like that.
Okay,
So
Dr. Woodbury-Moore, and then Dr. Sadler. How can you make this degree more useful in the marketplace, or is it not that kind of degree?
Well, one of the things we are trying to do at MTS is develop a course called From Research to Resource. And in that, similarly to what Dr. Francois was talking about in terms of publishers, but I'm thinking even broader than that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of people who have been able to segue their degree into nonprofits that they started, into a consulting business that they've started, into speaking and lectures and things of that sort as well. I am evidence. I am the testimony that a DMin degree, you can do things outside of what you thought you were purposed to do. That as an associate dean, I am serving in this role with a DMin, not a PhD. And
Okay.
so my testimony is that God opens doors. My testimony is also that as you're thinking about your purpose and what God is calling you to, then it's time to lean into that. And how do we turn this work, this document, into a resource for your community? Not just a publishable resource, but also something that maybe even a nonprofit. I have friends who are working in the nonprofit world because their DMin helped them to move into that second or third career that they were working on. So if this is what you want, if this is what the Lord is purposing you in it's your season, then it's time to begin to lean into that and what that may look like for you.
Okay. All right. That's all the time that we have. I can't thank this amazing group enough for sharing with us today. Thank you all for hitting my Cash App as an independent scholar. That's how I even get the time to bring you people like this and compensate them when I can. Join me next Monday, May 5th, for Dr. Aubrey Hendricks and Dr. Stephen Ray. We're going to talk about Black liberation and white nationalism. And as I said earlier, this broadcast is now on YouTube. It'll be up on my page on Facebook for 2 weeks, but it'll be on YouTube much longer than that. I always say, share the video. Share the video. Somebody really needs the information that was given today. Again, to my guests, thank all of you. I'm glad that you all are concluding. I think you're concluding your semesters and can Dr. Woodbury-Moore says that requires a praise moment. God bless you. Hope you can get some rest and then start fresh in the fall. Have a great week, everybody. All right. Thank you.